Figa. And with me, Judge Alex Ferrer. We've got him in studio, and of course, he's the host of TV's Judge Alex Show. But first, okay, reminds me a little of Robert Blake. He's going to get out there on the offensive. If he pulls out the guitar and starts singing, we're in trouble. Okay, back with more on the trial of music mogul Phil Spector. No laughing, you guys. This is serious stuff. All right, Judge Alex, let me start with you. What do you think about the jury selection? I think the 9 men is smart. Because we're going to get a lot of women that they'll be able to subtly say, you know, these women are hysterical, they came out of the woodwork, this is all a bunch of hokey. But what do you think about the legal bent and the producer, the media involved as jurymen?
Yeah, picking a producer from Dateline who would have access to all of the backstory and would be in the habit of doing in-depth investigation into the story, that's a very risky play for both sides, actually. The prosecution, because, of course, he's their dream juror because he knows all this stuff, but they have made a decision, a conscious decision, not to include certain evidence they intended to use, and they pulled the rug out of the defense's, from under the defense's feet at the last minute. But this guy knows that information. For the defense, it's a huge risk because he clearly is the type of person who has already invested a tremendous amount of time into this case, knows things that these jurors will never hear, including hearsay statements that will never come in. So I think that was a very dangerous ploy for both sides, but it may be a gamble that pays off well.
Well, and David, something else that these people like the about, and you know, I love all these guys. I've worked with them for a long time, so I'd never say the best defense money can buy. But in fact, what they did is they
can when it's true.
They went out and got the best and brightest in the field of forensics, criminology, medical examiners, forensic pathologists, this sort of thing, and they're going to bring in quite a parade.
Well, this entire case is going to hinge on that scientific evidence. That's the whole case. And, of course, hiring the best experts in forensics in...
Could that hurt with the producer? Because the NBC producer will go, this is the best money can buy. And, I mean, after
it can only hurt you so far.
And some of those cases, a lot of people say, ouch, you know, do you testify in the big...
Well, remember, they also don't have to put on everybody they've hired, but one thing they have done is they've excluded that witness and locked them away from the prosecution.
The state can't afford them anyway.
Which is a common tactic, and it's a very effective tactic. And in a case where all of this is going to turn on the scientific evidence, you know, obviously the blowback of the gun, you know, how far the gun blows back the gunshot residue is going to be a critical factor for whether his arm is extended and it would have still hit his clothing or whether it wouldn't. Those are all things that are going to be ironed out.
I mean, he did get spatter and he did get residue, so he was close enough for some of that stuff.
I just want to offer a very moderate caveat, which is that it's all going to be about the forensics if the defense has its way.
Yeah.
The prosecution's going to spend a lot of time trying to make this a bigger story. It's why they're leading.
And they have a bigger story.
They have a much bigger story, and to the extent to which they can spin to the jury the context, the bigger story, the defense is going to be, forgive me for saying it, on the defensive.
Well, their best. The other evidence they have that is absolutely devastating is that similar fact evidence.
Right.
Once you start parading other witnesses in front of the jury saying he's done it before, he's done it before.
And the same instances where women aren't wanting to sleep with him, aren't wanting to spend the night, this kind of thing, that's when he pulls the gun, keeps them there, and it's, you know, my lord, is this the only exception in this decades-long behavior pattern?
The one that wound up with the body, at least. I mean, to the extent to which that's an exception. I mean, it's devastating stuff.
Most of the time, if there is a reversal in a murder case, 9 times out of 10, if similar fact evidence has come in, that is one of the grounds for reversal. It is such devastating evidence that the judges have to be very careful when they let it in, and it's limited in its in the use that can be put to.
Could the conversation about